From the kitchen of the cabin, it's the 5 Games for Doomsday review.
Fast Sloths. How often do I experience delight? I've been thinking about this. Sitting here with the blue light of the screen scarring my retina, I've been evaluating my everyday, trying to pick out those little glittering moments that lift up the corners of my mouth. This is not the raucous, unclean high of joy, but the gentle lapping of happiness at the shores of my synapses that constitutes delight. To my surprise, when I thought about it, I realised that I experienced delight far more than I'd originally assumed. These little twinkles of delight that modestly flare for a second and then unobtrusively leave happen almost every day. I experience delight all the time. This morning, I saw the rising sun reflected in the windows of the buildings, and when I turned my face to the right, I was greeted by a large, syrupy ball of caramel light muscling its way through the sparsely covered trees and dousing the world in honey. I felt delight then, a drowsy, warming delight, the delight that comes when things happen as they're supposed to. I felt delight last night too, a grinning, tingling delight as I was putting away the pieces and packing away the board of Freedom and Freezer's new game, Fast Sloths. A game that makes an idiosyncratic twist on a familiar trope and turns wood and cardboard into a machine for delivering delight. In Fast Sloths, players take on the roles of the sleepy animals that are trying to get around the jungle and collect leaves in their colour before their opponents do the same with theirs. The only problem is that sloths are incredibly slow moving and so require the help of other animals to help them get where they need to go. The game has 12 different animals that the sloths can call on, but only 6 are used per game, each with their own ways of navigating the jungle that will help players to get to their leaves and win. Once a player has collected 8 of their 9 leaves, the current round is finished and the player with the most leaves wins, unless there's a draw, and, as sloths aren't particularly contentious sorts, that's just fine. There is a lot to commend this game. Firstly, it's eminently graspable, with rules that are simple and focus on interaction and pushing the race elements to the fore. The real delight though lies in the different abilities of the animals and the unweaving of the puzzle of when to use them at the right time to get across the board. They are wonderfully thematic, and this has the double pleasure of making them intuitive to use and raising a smile at the same time. The elephant, for instance, moves slowly, but at the end of its movement can flick you with its trunk. The ants can be arranged in troops that can pass you along, and the human can only go along paths and only stop at resorts because we need a cafetiere of coffee and a shower or we simply can't operate. This is no gentle stroll through the jungle though. When played well, this game can be mean as you gazump your opponents and their well-placed plans. Sloths leap on beasts and ride them into the sunset, leaving other sloths stranded and pensive. There are teeth in the jungle if you wish to bear them. This is a game of forward planning and contingency. From your initial placement of animals, I love games that make setup a part of the experience, to the chains of movement you arrange throughout the game, your brain is compelled to work and plan and swerve and dodge. Complexity is introduced through the other players and synergizing what is in your neck of the woods. No plan survives first contact with the enemy, and Fast Sloths is an object lesson in this. All of this results in a game that is as challenging as it is delightful and as delightful as it is challenging. It is a game of laugh-filled interaction, and every play is an hour filled with fun. Think about how much you experience delight. It's probably more than you think, and if that's not the case, well, maybe try Fast Sloths, because it'll up your delight quota no end. Thank you for listening. And you can support the show by going to patreon.com/5G4D.